Hello everyone, back with another video, just giving my thoughts on some of the weekend's racing. Fair play if any of you had a great weekend gambling. I thought it was really tough, and almost my friends did, and most of the people that I speak to about horse racing, I thought it was just really tough weekend, yeah. But for myself personally, it was okay. Put a couple of bets up in the last video. No point systems or nothing like this, just saying basically what I fancied. I've done three multiples and three singles, and I've done Envoy Allen single. We'll move on to these races later. Obviously a loser, Farouk Delen single, 7-2 ended up coming in, thankfully, kind of the saviour of the weekend. And Imperial Aura, I think the other single was, and then me multiples were basically the same horses, just like Shishkin, Envoy Allen, and type of like trebles and doubles, and Shishkin and Envoy Allen let them all down. But yeah, I'll move on to the races more in depth later. I've watched the Saturday races back a couple of times, but the Sunday races, unfortunately, I've only had the chance to see once. I'm recording this video literally as I've just finished watching Punchestown because I'm going away early tomorrow morning for a couple of days, and I just had to get this video in now. So like I say, I've only watched the races from the Sunday one time, and I was mostly just focusing on my horses, so it mightn't be the best. Like whatever I say about the races now, my opinion could change when I watch them back, but I'm pretty sure I've got a solid picture in my head of what I thought of the races. So yeah, well, the best place to start would be Sandown, and I won't do it in chronological order. I just maybe talk about what's freshest on my mind and the big races, and the best place I think to start would be the Tingle Creek. Shacham was absolutely terrible. I said in the last video, even though Shacham, he improved bucket loads from his first run to his second run, I thought he'd be too good for this lot, and I thought it'd be his jumping that kind of got his head in front in case he did have a bit of rustiness issues. But he was absolutely shocking. I thought his jumping was terrible. No excuses really for him. Like, if anything, it kind of makes, maybe this is a bit of a crazy shout, but I think it kind of makes his Cheltenham run more acceptable to get over, because the Cheltenham run was really the only blip that he'd had besides the defeat to a Plutard, and so it was easy when he was winning all these great ones in Ireland. It was very easy to say, yeah, he just doesn't handle Cheltenham. He ran well below par. He doesn't get up the hill. But the fact he's run below par at Sandown now kind of takes away the Cheltenham factor from it. And you think he's had two blips now. I know Sandown's got a hill also, but he was beaten long before the hill. So maybe it was just a bad day. Maybe this is a horse that can throw in a couple of bad runs, and maybe it wasn't Cheltenham the track, maybe it wasn't the hill, and maybe it was just that this horse can throw a few stinkers in, because it's exactly what he's done yesterday. But listen, it was awful, and you'd want to see him bounce back, and we'll get to an Energamine later. But like I say, my pecking order for the champion chase was Shishkin, Shacham Poor Spa, and an Energamine in that order. But as I'll come to at the end of the video, I've changed that rapidly now. I think I'd have an Energamine right at the top of the pack, and I'll explain why later. But Shacham Poor Spa, he's a horse that divides opinions. Like I say, I absolutely love him. Like, he's one of my favourite horses, and I know a lot of people hate him, and the people that don't like him, they'll be laughing at that on the weekend, because I thought that was absolutely terrible. And it was the same for Nube Negra. I did think it'd be between them two. Grenadine was a ready winner. We've got to talk about the winner. He absolutely sprinted up the hill at Sandown. And yeah, it was a great performance, and I was over the moon for Nichols. Like I said, I don't back many Nichols horses at the Cheltenham Festival, because his records in maybe recent years, but I never really fall in love with any of his horses. I know we had that era before I was watching racing where he had superstar after superstar, but no, I'm really happy to see him win these grade ones like the Tingle Creeks. He's not scared to have a crack, and he had two in there, and he got the 1-2, so fair play to the fella. And Grenadine, yeah, there's nothing you can say about it. He deserved to win, and he won very closely, and I didn't see it coming anyway, so well done to anybody that did. I think he might have went off about 12-1, I'm not sure, but listen, Nichols knows what he's doing with that little prep run in the Halton Gold Cup, and Hitman and Grenadine come to the fore, and I didn't see it coming. And in terms of Cheltenham for Shacham, listen, like I say, I was saying I agreed with David Jennings in the last video, and also that last video, I only ended up getting it up like 12 hours before the racing started on the Friday, so most of you who normally watch these videos probably wouldn't have had the chance to see it, and that was my fault. I'll try and get them up earlier in future. Thank you to the people that did watch it straight away and got involved in the comments, and so yeah, I'll just repeat some of the things I said in the last video, because I don't think many people would have had time to watch it. But yeah, I was all over Shacham, like I say, and it was poor. Nube Negra was poor, and yeah, in terms of Cheltenham for Shacham, it's just have to see what he does over the remainder of the season, but it's not the start you would have been hoping for. If he would have come second, and even though I was expecting him to win, if he would have come second, if he would have jumped well and kind of just, you know, something beat him at the end, I wouldn't have been too disheartened, but I just thought that was a really poor showing, and it was the same from Ellie May at Aintree, and I was kind of thinking maybe the Willie Mullins horse is just, they aren't that fit, but it was kind of a weekend of two halves, and the racing I've just watched at Cork and Punchestown, besides Kilcroot, Willie Mullins horses look fine to me, so I'm not sure how many excuses we can make for these horses, but Ellie May, I've never really been a big fan of it, as I've touched on a couple of times. I was against her with Colreevy last season, and I went against her with Concertista this season, another horse we'll move on to later, but she had rock solid form in the book, and you can't really knock anybody that said she was a good bet for the mares at 4-1, the mares chase, but that was disappointing. I didn't even think the jumping was that bad. Overall, she pinged a few fences, but she just looked outpaced, sluggish, like something was amiss. So, again, listen, I'm not just writing Shishkin Corsart and Ellie May off for the season and saying they're not going to win races. I do believe Shishkin will win at Leopardstown once again. And maybe over Christmas, it depends how they juggle himself and the Nergamine. And I do think Ellie May will win races again this season, but it's not the start you'd be hoping for with both of them horses. I thought it was really disappointing. I'm saying I thought it was disappointing. It was disappointing. I don't think anybody could have found any positives with them two races, and we'll have to see how they bounce back. The Henry VIII Novice Chase was won by Edwardstone, and this was a bit of a crazy race to watch. We had third time lucky, absolutely bowling along in front. Looked like he just gassed out way too soon. Like I've said, I don't like this horse, third time lucky. I don't think he's an Arkle horse. I don't think many people do now. Edwardstone was another one. He come home really strongly at Sandown. If it was Shishkin, we'd all be saying, oh, what an amazing performance by Shishkin, but I'm guilty of this because it's Edwardstone, and I'm thinking, great performance, but he's not going to win the Arkle. I know the connections are wanting to go for the Arkle with this horse, and fair play to them. Listen, he just won a grade 1 by about 15 lengths, I think it was, but I just don't think there was any Cheltenham clues in that race. I don't like third time lucky, but I do like Edwardstone, I really do, and I'd be interested to see where he goes prior to the Arkle, but just against your Ferny, Hollow, we'll get on to later, appreciate it, the Irish horses, I don't know, I've mentioned in these previous videos, I don't really like backing these English horses too much, unless I think they're a real star at the Cheltenham Festival. But yeah, third time lucky, definitely a big negative from that race, and Edwardstone, of course, it was another step up his chasing careers, besides when the first race didn't go to plan, but he was running a big race, the second race, he's went out and avenged that, and now he's won a grade 1, so he's a horse to keep on the right side of course he is. Another horse I think to keep on the right side of is Constitution Hill, and listen, there's been a big reaction to this performance, and people are saying on the clock it was amazing, visually it was amazing. I'm no expert on the clock, just visually I think this looks an absolute superstar. I honestly do. I think Nicky could have another Shishkin Altior on his hands here. I know obviously he's only won one race, and it's a crazy thing to say, but the way he just come into the race like an absolute jet and then just absolutely powered away from Mai Tai, who I think, like I know David Jennings like this horse, and Connections think quite a lot of him. I know a couple of people have put him up. I don't know if people just put him up in videos because David Jennings has and things like this, but a couple of my friends like this horse, and Constitution Hill's absolutely sprinted away from them, and I just thought this was a really, really taken performance, and he'd be top of my list for the Supreme, definitely. I think he deserves his place in the market at around 8-1, and was really impressed by this horse. Let me know what you think. Do you think it was overhyped? I don't think anyone would. I think this was just special, but let me know what you think in the comments regardless, and about Mai Tai, where you think could be where they go next with this horse, who's looked promising but was way put on his place here. We go to Aintree again, and Protectorat made it 2 for 2 at Aintree, if I recall, and I love this horse. She had it backed in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, and I've backed it a couple of times. Aintree last season, the Dipper when it lost, and it was short price then. I think this is a horse to keep on the right side of course it is. Stepped up to 3 miles, he was a classy novice over middle distance. Similar profile to Chantry House, I think, and we all know, if you've been watching these videos, how much I love Chantry House. And Protectorat is definitely, he absolutely put that race to bed. He just looked different level to those horses. I said in the previous video, I thought this was a 2-horse race between Imperial Aura and Protectorat, and I just thought the value was with Imperial Aura, but the way the market panned out, Protectorat ended up drifting to the same price, so that's the problem maybe with recording these videos the day before, because you can change your opinion near the race, but I didn't have a strong opinion. I thought it could have been Imperial Aura or Protectorat, and I don't know what's wrong with Imperial Order, just pulls up very tamely about halfway round, and that horse seems to have real questions to answer. It looks like it's got real issues, and Protector that was by far the best of these. I know they're aiming for the Gold Cup. It's going to be a big ask against the Irish, and horses like this. I've put Chantry House up in these videos, and yeah, but listen, they're entitled to do what, take the chance with this horse in the Grade 1s now. He, like I say, looks a level above his Grade 2 rivals on the weekend, and it'd be interesting to see where they go. I think the King George, this horse is a good jumper. They're being holding it up for its last 2 wins. They used to let it bowl along in front, and I don't know what's going to work best for this horse. Maybe holding it up, because its last 2 wins have probably been the most impressive. When it won that Aintree last season, and when it's won on the weekend, and it was even held up in the Paddy Power Gold Cup when it flew home. So maybe this horse just likes having horses to aim at, and yeah, I think this horse will run well in the King George, but I don't know if that's the plan. But no, I certainly like him. And we've just heard the news that Envoy Allen and Allaho aren't coming over for the King George, so it makes it that tad bit easier for the English horses. I think it's only Manella Inzo that's planned to come over at the moment for Ireland. Obviously, we know not many of them usually do. We'll get on to Allaho and Envoy Allen later. Envoy Allen will not be carrying my money for a long time once again. I think he's finito. So yeah, Protectorate, nothing wrong with that. Farouk Delaine, I put up in these videos, just kind of, when I say put up, I said I was going to back him over the weekend if he was any type of price. He opened 5-2, drifted 7-2, and it was a great performance, I thought. He hasn't been sore on the track for almost 12 months. It was a hot beginner's chase, as a touchdown with Ashdale Bob and Blue Sari. Horses like this, Kesgod Risk, and these were all the right horses were finishing at the 4 of this race. So I think the race will work out well. It'll be one to follow throughout the season, excuse me. And yeah, no, I was really impressed with Farouk Delaine. I was going to even put a 0.5 points on him for the RSA Festival Novice Chase last video, but I've already played my hand in these videos with 2 horses, Gaillard Du Mesnil and Gallyhill for the Festival Novice Chase, and I didn't want to start putting too many up in December when I could change my mind a million times a game. But this horse is still 25-1 for the RSA, and I thought to do what he done over 2 mile 4 furlongs on the weekend in a hot race against horses that have had a run over fences, a couple of them, and a couple of classy horses, I thought he was always doing enough. He jumped well enough. He got overtaken by Blue Sari at one point. It was Blue Sari, I think, sorry if that's a mistake, and then fought back, got himself back in front. He responded loads to pressure. He was always doing enough. This horse stepped up to 3 miles, and I don't think Cheltenham will be a problem for him. There was once talk that he's better go on right-handed, but I think he's going to put that to bed now. He just looks a classy animal. Like I say, Gordon Elliott give him a good right-up in a stable sort, and I've had a few quid on him at 33s for the RSA, and I don't think that's going to be a waste of money on the day of these single figures being from Gordon Elliott. And he can win a couple of races from now to the Cheltenham Festival. I'm guessing that's the target it always is with Gordon. I think he could be single figures on the day. Obviously, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge, but 25-1, I think that's generous from the bookies. I really do. There was a lot to like about this performance. He's only going to improve after 12 months off the track, and like I say, he saved my weekend kind of. I've done a couple more little bets besides the ones that I said I was going to do in the last video, but Farouk Delaine, out of the ones I put in this video, certainly kind of saved the weekend, and I like this horse, I really do. In 25-1, I think that's generous enough. Ginto looked really impressive. Like I say, I don't like this horse, and kind of come of age, if you want to call it that, on the weekend when he absolutely smashed Eric Bloodaxe. Like I say, I didn't have a strong opinion in this race, but if I had the gun to me, I would have went Eric Bloodaxe, and Ginto's absolutely wiped the floor with him. Gordon had it off, didn't he? At Navan on Saturday, he's absolutely cleaned up. I think he got a 37,000-1 4-timer, and he means business, doesn't he? He's a top trainer, and obviously he's got a point to prove. It's like it's all being forgotten about kind of what he's done now. I wasn't a fan of what he's done. I have a bit of soft spot for animals, and I don't like seeing things like that. Like I'm vegetarian, and kind of don't like seeing any animal cruelty, and I was kind of furious. I don't know where to use the word furious, but I really didn't like what Gordon done. But everybody deserves a second chance. Looking back at it now, everybody makes mistakes, but you do hear rumours that he makes a lot of mistakes, and he's up to no good constantly in the yards, which it's not good just to hear about, because it's not nice, but then it's not good for the sport, of course it's not. But hopefully he's put all that silliness behind him now, and he's a top trainer, and he looks like he's got Ginto, Hollow Game both on his hands here for and Albert Bartlett. I hope they both go that way because, like we said, I've backed hollow games for the Albert Bartlett personally and in these videos at 33-1 in these videos, I think. So yeah, hopefully Ginto doesn't interfere with the hollow game plans, but he was really impressive. And talking about Ginto, a horse that beat him in his bumper was What You Want. This horse came out and won his hurdles debut over the weekend, and he was last seen staying on really strongly at the Dublin Racing Festival, I think, and a couple of people have said he could be an Albert Bartlett type. One of the lads who's been commenting on these videos, I think it was Wayne, forgive me if I'm wrong, has a couple of good discussions with him, and he put this horse up in the first video at 66-1 for the Albert Bartlett, saying, keep an eye on this fella, like he looks like he wants to strip, and he's came out and he's done nothing wrong over hurdles on his debut, like I say, he's tied in with that Ginto bumper form, and What You Want could be one to follow, of course he could. I didn't see the race, I just saw the name when I was on the Racing Post results and thought, sure, someone mentioned that, and then I looked through the form and realised that it's the horse that beat Ginto, and yeah, he's won his race, and it's, like I say, unfortunately, sorry for the lack of education on this, I haven't had the chance to see it, but I think he won by a couple of lengths, and I know a lot of people like this horse, and he could be one to follow. Riviere de Tell, won again, getting all them allowances, and it's hard to know how good she is when she's not going to get as many allowances, but she's doing nothing wrong at the moment, and she's won by 15 lengths again here on the weekend, and again it just carried on this amazing Saturday for Gordon at Navan. Commander of the Fleet, Sod's Law, I backed this horse 40-1 the race before when it fell. Oh sorry, it was 40-1 when it won yesterday. I don't know what price it was, but it was a big price when I backed it the race before. I backed it, and Dallas the picked on and Commander of the Fleet in a big, like, kind of handicap looking field, if I remember. And yeah, he come down and he was travelling well, and he's went and made amends, and he's won snugly yesterday at Navan. I completely missed him. I didn't even really look at this Navan card too much, to be fair. I'm not saying I wasn't back to him, but 40-1, I maybe was about a couple of quid, and I was absolutely gutted when I just seen when I seen the race, and he's won quite snugly in the end, 2 lengths. Sorry, I was just thinking about something else then, what I'm going to move on to later. But I don't know how much of a part he's going to play at Cheltenham, Commander of the Fleet, but he looks like he's back in good order after that strong Albert Bartlett form with Manella Hindo and Allaho a couple of years ago. So moving on to the Sunday, I think now, and on the Saturday, I just want to have a quick mention. C-Sessions won at Aintree and boosted that Phil Dore form. It won going away, and Phil Dore beat this horse by 16 lengths or something at Down Royal, and I know a couple of people were grabbing Phil Dore last time. I said I liked it. I think it was good form also when he beat the Noel Mead horse in second at Fairyhouse last weekend. I think it was called Luna Display or something. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But no, I just had a little boost for Phil Dore. I put Phil Dore up in these videos at 8-1. I think he's 4-1 now, and this was certainly a form boost by C-Sessions at Aintree. It was a great weekend for the bets I've put up in these videos so far. I'll touch on it at the end, but I couldn't have got more form boosts or more victories for the horses that I've put up. So although I mightn't have had the greatest weekend punting myself, it wasn't a bad weekend. Like I say, I only bet pennies this time of the year, and because of Farouk Delen and another little bet is done, I ended up finishing around even. But Cheltenham's what we're focusing on. It's what I focus on personally. It's the be all and end all. That's where most of my money goes, and of course these videos are all centred around Cheltenham. So in terms of Cheltenham, it was a good weekend for the horses that I've spoke about and the horses that I've put up. Long may it continue. Obviously there's still 4 months to go. Party Central bounced back today at sorry, I forgot where the race was. I was at Punchestown. Yeah, it was the race before the John's Aikon, if I recall. And yeah, she absolutely tanked through the race. It looked like she was going to get caught at the end, but I think she must, maybe the commentator made a good point. She travelled through the race so strongly that I think it kind of went against it at the end. But yeah, she was the best horse in that race, and it looks like she's put that terrible run at Down Royal behind her. And be interested to see what races they go for with Party Central throughout the season. Moving on to the big one at Punchestown. I'm not really going in chronological order. Sorry, I've just made a couple of notes, and I did not see this coming. I'm a massive fan of Allaho. He's one of my favourite horses in training. I've put him up for the Ryanair at 9-2 in these videos as one of my first bets. One of my only 2-point stakes so far, because I just think this horse is an absolute certainty in the Ryanair. He's 5-2 now, so we've got 2 points value, and for whatever that's worth, value doesn't mean nothing until they go and win, as we all know, of course. But this horse, I don't think he's ever won first time out, if I recall. I don't think he might have even ever won in his first 2 runs of the season. he's the biggest horse in the yard, I think he gets reported as, and I thought he'd take a couple of runs to get fit, and I didn't think Willie Mullins would have him anywhere near tunes up here, and maybe he hasn't, so maybe it was even more impressive being fit, doing this first time out going winning the John Zerchen. I thought Envoy Allen would win this, like I've mentioned in the last video. I thought I hadn't given up on him yet, and I thought this would be his big test, and he failed miserably. He'll never be carrying my money again. I'd never say never, but not for a long time until he shows much more. Like, he's going to have to go and beat me a couple of times before I ever get on his side again. It's a real shame. We'll never know what would have happened if he would have stayed at Gordon's. Listen, who knows how much emphasis we can place on the stable change, but it came at a pivotal time in his career. He was unbeaten, then obviously we all know what happened. He had to move to Henry de Bromhead, and he's only won one little Mickey Mouse race in 4 runs since. So he looks like he's on the way down. Like I say, it's a shame because who would have knew what was to happen with this horse, but I suppose he looks that bad this season and his last 2 runs last season. It's hard to really blame it all on the stable change, and it is just a real shame. Asterion Forlonge was absolutely tanking through this race. I know many people thought he was the one that I just seen quickly on Twitter, and a couple of my friends thought the same. Allaho's a hard horse to pass, so who knows, but Asterion Forlonge did look like he had a lot more to give here, and he likes Punchestown, this horse, and maybe he can try and transfer this form to other race courses this season, but definitely at Punchestown, this is a horse to follow. And yeah, I don't know how much we learned from this race. It kind of all Willie Mullins horses in the top 3, finishing in a bunch. I don't know if Gaillard Du Mesnil, did he get 3rd in the end? I can't remember, sorry, like I say, I haven't watched the racing back, but I know Mellon ran a big race at 50 to 1, I think he placed. Janadil was running a big race. And yeah, it was basically just Willie Mullins after me thinking early in the day when Kilcrew flopped. He's not going to get any winners all day, and Willie Mullins being Willie Mullins is just, you never lose the faith in that man, and he's just won basically every race after that Kilcrew race, I think, at Cork and Punchestown. And yeah, it can only bode well for Allaho for the rest of the season. Like I say, he's only going to get fitter and fitter, and it looks really good for our Ryanair bet. So I'm really happy with that. Let me know what you think of the John Zerchen. I imagine a lot of you would have thought Asterion Forlonge would have won, and the likes of Janadil, where do you think they're going to go this season? Envoy Allen, where would you go with this horse next? I really don't know where they go with Envoy Allen now. To me, it just doesn't look grade 1 standard. It sounds crazy saying, but be interested to see where they go next. And yeah, it was an enjoyable race anyway, and Allaho showed a lot of guts, and he went for passing. Another horse I've put up in these videos is Concertista, 7 to 1 for the mares chasing. This was a perfect weekend for her. She was pitched in right at a grade 2. Her jumping was okay for the most part, but I think it was a class that got her through. She was just absolutely cruising, coming to the 2 out. And I was made up with this performance. She's still 4 to 1 now. I think that's value, considering Ellie May has got maybe questions to answer after her run at Chantry. I think Ellie May was pushed out to 10 to 1. That could be my idea of a saver. I haven't played Ellie May yet, because I just thought I'm not really a massive fan of it, and she was only 7 to 2, even though you could argue that was value after the previous 4 runs before today, winning 2 and coming second to Colreevy and Allaho in the other 2. But no, 7 to 2 never appeals to me, but 10 to 1 does. I might have a tenner on it, or in the sake of these videos, maybe like 0.5 points, just to have a bit of cover, because I do think she'll improve from that Ellie May, and like Willie Mullins has already touched on, that second to Colreevy would almost be good enough and to go very close in the race again this year. But Concertista is who I pin my colours to very early, and 7 to 1, she's 4 to 1 now. You can't argue with that. She's surely only going to improve from this run. Willie Mullins and Patrick Mullins have stated they're a couple of weeks behind, and she's just went and beat Magic Days and Jeremy's Flame, was it, in a grade 2, and it's a perfect starting point for me. Let me know what you think about Concertista. Do you think 4s is a reasonable price? Do you think it's overpriced? Do you think it's underpriced? I don't think you can argue with 4s from the bookies. I think that's fair. Moving on to Ferny Hollow, another horse that I put up in these videos. Put him up at 11 to 1 for the Arkle, 1 point, and a cover bet for the Marsh chase, 0.5 points. Like I say, Allaho, Concertista, Ferny Hollow, I've put all these horses up, and it was a perfect start for all of them for the season. I couldn't be happier. Ferny Hollow, he was keen, wasn't he, like he was last season. He hasn't ran for over a year, so you can forgive him this. His jumping was a bit sketchy in the middle part, but when Corsa Blind came up to him, I thought he really knuckled down. He pinged the last couple of fences, and he was going away readily at the end, and he's going to improve bucket loads for this race. Corsa Blind, like I say, he's meant to have always worked the house down when he was at Gordon's, and I just, for whatever reason, he never seems to see his racing out. He came there absolutely tanking in the Morgiana last season, if I remember, and found nothing. He found a little bit more against Ferny here, so maybe fences will be the making of this horse, and he can translate this great work at home to the racetrack. But he did find a bit more, but Ferny Hollow he looked like he had loads left under the bonnet. I thought this was a hottish looking beginner's chase on paper, maybe not as hot as the Ferruta beginner's chase, but or the chase, whatever you call it. I don't know if it was beginner's chase. And I'm not great with me with race terminology, sorry, that's why I always just say the race after this, the race after that, or name the time. I'm terrible with the names of races, or the conditions. But Ferny Hollow, yeah, I was impressed by that. Like I say, you're expecting to come on bucket loads, and all you want them to do is show they're alive and well, and this horse got a big future. I couldn't really decide after the race because he was doing his best work at the end, but then he was keen and he looks like he's got plenty of pace. So where this horse would go, but literally just as I was about to press play to record this video, one of my friends has told me that the Arkle's the long time aim. So this is what we were hoping for. I said this in the first video, that I think he's going to go for the Arkle. You've got to trust your gut. You can be wrong with some things, you can be right with some things, of course you can. Hopefully he does go for the Arkle, like I say. I've got him in a couple of multiples at 33s myself, and I've a single at 33s or boosted to 37. So the Arkle's where I want, but it's going to be interesting how they juggle Appreciated, because Appreciated, they're not going to run them both in the Arkle, are they, surely? And I suppose Appreciated, he always looks like he could stay further, and I suppose you could imagine him to settle better to get that 2.5 mile trip at the Marsh, but he's the one that's been winning the grade ones all last season over 2 miles. So maybe that was just because it was a weak division with Bartlett and Blue Lord, the likes of them. So maybe this horse does need to step up and trip. But no, at the moment, it kind of, just by the way Cheveley Park are talking, it looks like Ferny Hollow for the Arkle, and maybe you'd suggest then Appreciated for the Marsh chase, because Cheveley Park seem to always get their own way. They seem to always get their own way with the horses, which races they go for. So it looks like definitely Ferny Hollow, all roads lead to the Arkle, and basically that's all. I'm just trying to skim this through now because I've got a lot of things to sort out today. As always, it's just me talking in front of the camera about my views. Sorry if I was rambling on, or if it didn't cover everything that happened over the weekend. I was just trying to have a little look at my notes then in case I've missed anything. But I think that's all. That's just a quick skim and scam through the weekend. It wasn't the greatest weekend punting for me, like I say. I just got the Ferruta win, and the only other, I haven't covered Kilcruit, I'll get to that in a second, because the only other bet I landed was 3-1 Laggy debut without Kilcruit in a double with Concertista, and there was a real 4 on that Laggy debut, so it wasn't the greatest bet in the world. I think it paid 4-1, it was meant to pay 8-1, but it all adds up to, basically, I didn't lose any money over the weekend. And when you can watch a weekend like that with enjoyment and not have it ruined by losing money, and a couple of your horses you're back for Cheltenham go in, then it's a good weekend in my opinion, like you say. And we expect to win money in March, not in December. Well, I don't anyway. Never really do well in the month of December. And yeah, Kilcruit was absolutely terrible, wasn't he? And at this point I was thinking, okay, Willie's just need the run. But all the horses afterwards kind of shows, I haven't touched on Dynamo either, I'll move on to him also. Sorry about that, but Kilcruit looked a bit sluggish, workman-like. He looked like something was amiss with him. This Laggy debut, he always come with a big reputation. I backed him for a bumper when he was running for Crawford, I think it was. When he come with a big reputation, and he was a big gamble, I backed him at, I think it was 4-1 or something that day, and he went off 7-4, absolutely tanked into the race, and he ends up coming third. I think he travelled a bit too strongly on heavy ground that day, and I haven't seen him since. And then literally a couple of weeks ago, I seen him entered in one of these type of races for Ferny de Bromhead, and I thought, I'll have a little bet on this fella. I think it was against Three Stripe Life, the race that Three Stripe Life won, and a back Laggy debut to win that race. So I thought, this horse looks classy, he's always come with a big reputation. Anyway, he was withdrew from that race. I don't know if it was because of the grounds, or I have no idea why he was withdrew, but then I'm sure he was entered again and withdrew. And then I seen him entered against Kilcruit, and I thought, it reminds me a bit of when Henry de Bromhead placed Bob Olinger against Ferny Hollow last season. And I just thought, is this Laggy debut one of Henry de Bromhead's best for the season? He's trying to get a pointer of what level he's at by running him against Kilcruit, and I kind of looked that way. I think he was saving him for a race to pitch him in against the likes of Kilcruit to see how he fared, and he passed the test with flying colours. He was keen for him for the early part of the race, and he's tanked through the race. Him and Kilcruit have pulled miles clear. and he's put the race to bed very easily. Whether that was Kilcruit's through showing, we'll find out as the season progresses, but at the moment, you can't knock Laggy's debut, and I just think, maybe I'm looking into it too much, but just the way he's been withdrew for a couple of races and then pitched in here against Kilcruit, maybe is this Henry trying to get a sight on the level of this Laggy debut, or maybe he's using him as a pointer for one of his other horses, like a Journey With Me, or something like this that he might have better at home. But he's definitely a horse to keep on the right side of this Laggy debut, and be interesting to follow where he goes through. I don't know if he's on my mind for Cheltenham. I haven't backed him for anything. I haven't looked what price he is for any of the races, but listen, there was a lot to like about that performance, and there was a lot not to like about Kilcruit. But I suppose you could say there's been a bit of an overreaction to Kilcruit. I think he's 10s to the Supreme, even higher for the Ballymore. The problem is we don't know what race he's going to go for. Listen, something looked amiss with this horse, but I just think he looks a Ballymore horse to me. As Sir Gerhard looks the Supreme horse, he always has, but Willie has a way of running his speed horses in the Ballymore, his stamina horse in the Supreme, so I still wouldn't go steaming in on either of them just for one specific race, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kilcruit next time, and if anything comes to light after the race, because he looked really sluggish, really workmanlike. That being said, I know it's always easy to say this, but if what's his name, Laggy debut wasn't in this race, we'd be saying Kilcruit won by 20 odd lengths, and it's always easy to say that, but it's hard really to get a gauge on that race, because if I move on to Dysart Dynamo, he was much more impressive in the next race. I'm not sure what Dysart Dynamo beat in this race. I don't know if there was a Laggy debut type horse, so maybe if Laggy debut was in this race against Dysart Dynamo, we might be saying Dysart Dynamo was the one that got beat by 10 lengths, and Kilcruit the race before was the one that won by 24. So time will tell the strength of these races. And like I say, Dysart Dynamo, I didn't rate him at the same level as a Kilcruit or a Sir Gerhard going into this novice hurdle season, because Kilcruit and Sir Gerhard had all that grade 1 strong bumper form last year. But listen, this Dysart Dynamo, he's travelled through the race strongly, and he looked like he's done it with ease. So if you're one of those that's backed this horse for the Ballymore or the Supreme, fair play to you. You'd like that, and you'd expect all these Willie Mullins horses to improve, not just the ones that were beaten, like your Shishkin, your Ellie Mays, your Kilcruit. You'd expect them all to improve throughout the season. And I'm just going up to Upton Darmeen Hoats here, and I forgot to mention Energamine. And Energamine, listen, like I say, I had him as bottom of the pecking order out of Shishkin, Shishkin, and Energamine. I completely changed that, because Shishkin has definitely got questions to answer after that shocking showing at Sandown. And Shishkin is, like I say, you can't blame Nicky Henderson for the horse scoping bad, but he just doesn't fill me with confidence anymore. Nicky Henderson, he used to be the man you'd want to get a horse performing on the day at Cheltenham in one piece, keep them fit and healthy all season. But this Shishkins reminds me a bit of Altior now, like last season where he missed the Tingle Creek. He looks like he's going to scope badly around Christmas time. And well, he scoped badly now, but this could affect Christmas time, and we know Allaho scoped badly after the race against Nube Negra, the Desert Orchid Chase at Kempton last season. And I just want to see Shishkin prove he's alive and well now, because this Energamine, he's galloped Notebook into the ground again. Notebook has tried to go with him, and he's had to just give up, playing 3 or 4 fences out. Energamine's kept going. He looked a bit tired towards the end, like a few dodgy, moody jumps towards the end, but he had the race well in control, and he came out, he showed he was alive and well. His first time in open company, he's put them to the sword, and I was really impressed by Energamine, and maybe I don't give this horse enough credit. I love the horse, don't get me wrong, I've backed him in short price multiples at the Dublin Racing Festival and things like this. Last season, punches time, but I had him bottom of the pecking order, but you've got to put him right amongst the top now. He's the only one that came out the top 3 and showed that he's alive and well and in good order, and if you're on Energamine at big prices now, fair play to you, because this horse is going to take high ranks amongst the 2 mile division this season, stating the pure obvious. Of course, yes, I thought that was a tremendous start. At first, I was thinking, oh, like Size and Potsy was kind of closing on another outsider towards the end, but I think they were just coming off the strong pace that Energamine and Notebook set, and Energamine didn't move from the front end of the race, the whole race, and he's just got loads of stamina, he's got a high cruising speed, and yeah, and it goes without saying, Energamine's going to take a whole lot of beating this season. Whether Shishkin's the horse to do it at Cheltenham or Chantry at his beloved Punchestown or Leopardstown, I just think it's time for me to start giving Energamine some respect. Like I say, I've always loved the horse, but I put him bottom of the pack, out the top 3 in the Champion Chase market. He's got to be right amongst the top of the pack now, if not top. I'm still a Shishkin fan. Shishkin's been my number 1 for a long time, hence why I'm on good prices and things like this. But until Shishkin shows he's alive and well and Ergamine's established herself as the horse to beat, I suppose. And basically, yeah, that's all from me, these videos. I'm sorry if I missed anything. I think I've covered everything now. I just wrote a few notes down quick after the punches down and court meetings today. Touched on the horses that I've backed in these videos and the horses that I talked about in the previous video. Like I say, it was a tremendous weekend for the horses in these videos that I've put up and pointing towards the Cheltenham Festival, but there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge between now and then. And yeah, it was a good weekend's racing. I was a bit disappointed with some of the races, but maybe that's just me spitting my dummy out because the Tingle Creek, like Shaq and Poor Swar, disappointed, and I was so excited to see Kilcruit, and he disappointed. But yeah, as always, it's starting to heat up now, the racing. At least Willie Mullins has got his big guns out for the season, and hopefully he can continue to heat on and heat up until Christmas. So yeah, hopefully get another video up before next weekend, but I'm back on Thursday, so hopefully that's enough time for me to have a look through the cards. And like I say, I only skim over the races anyway. Thank you to everybody that's still watching these videos, just watching me basically ramble on in front of a camera. Love hearing your thoughts, so please let me know in the comments what you thought of this weekend's racing. If you've got any new anti-post bets for Cheltenham after all the action that's taken place, and what horses you just completely went off. So for me, that the main horse this week to take out of it was probably Allaho off the top of my head, because I did not expect him to be fully wound up at all, and he's went and won the John Zerk, so that bodes well for my Ryanair bets. And then the horse that I'll never back again at the moment is Envoy Allen. I just think Asterion Phalange in Janadel, I think it was, absolutely swinging alongside him as Rachel Blackmore's patting down the neck, trying to get more out of him. That's not a good enough level for me. That's not the level I hold Envoy Allen at in my head, and it's time for me to kind of give up on Envoy Allen for now, unfortunately. You root for these superstars, but listen, we have enough superstars to root for. Hopefully an Ergamine, Shishkin, Honeysuckle, the likes of these, and unfortunately it doesn't look like Envoy Allen's going to be one of these. So yeah, I hope you all had a good weekend, and stay safe through the week, and hopefully see you at the next video. That's all from me for now. No bets again for me this weekend. I'm just happy enough with the prices contracting. For my horses, I was thinking before today, if Allaho gets beat today and the bookies push him out to 5-1, I might even top up another point in these videos, but I'm not going to get the chance to top Allaho up again now. He's 2-1, and I'm happy with my 2 points at 9-2. And listen, I'm not going to complain about him going and winning the John Zerk first time out. So all roads lead to the Ryanair, hopefully. And yeah, take care, guys, and thank you for watching as always. Bye. Hello, just forgot to add in at the end of this video, if any of you got Twitter, add me on Twitter, @racing, it's just simply as that, that's my name. I forgot what the actual name of the account is. It's like horse racing something, but my name's @racing, just if anyone's got Twitter. Not trying to get like followers or nothing like this. I don't give a fuck about anything like that. It's just, sometimes I put these videos up and then I change my mind on certain horses, and I haven't got time to put another video up. Basically like when I back remastered for the Ladbrokes Chase, the Ladbrokes Trophy last week. Obviously he didn't win, but just sometimes I put more fresh reviews up on there, and I can get involved with you even more. On Twitter, if you've got Twitter accounts, and we can all just comment on each other's statuses or anything like that. Just anything to get a bit more horse racing talk in my life. And yeah, @racing, just if anybody wants to follow. And that's all from me definitely now, so see you soon, bye.